What is American exceptionalism? And have we ever been really, exceptional? George Bernard Shaw once said, patriotism is fundamentally having the conviction that a particular country is the best in the world because you were born in it. American exceptionalism seems to mean basically that whatever rules apply to all the other countries should not apply to America because we're special. Our exceptionalism is simply the belief that internationally recognized rules, morals, and ethics should apply to everyone except the United States. Now, I am sure that every country would love to have the same exceptionalism, but they're not strong enough to impose their will on everyone else like we are. So instead, they just despise us. Yeah. For openly demanding that every other country follow rules the United States is exempt from. And for us demanding that they accept that the United States is exceptional and fundamentally better than they are. For example, no country should have chemical or biological weapons. Except us. In fact, we stockpile them. Just in case. Oh, and we're the only country to have actually dropped a nuclear bomb. Twice. And offensive military action? Offensive. Attacking a country that has not attacked you is absolutely wrong. Except when we do it. Now, if we attack someone, it's always unquestioningly hunky-dory. Because it's always defensive, damn it. Defensive. Never because we want their oil, or their minerals, or their oil, or to privatize their industries and agriculture for our corporations, or for their oil. It's because they had weapons of mass destruction. They are anti-capitalist. They were harboring drug lords, or they had our oil. Oh, another rule that applies to just about everyone, except for us. No country should interfere with the internal political workings of another country, trying to influence its elections or assassinate its elected leaders. Though I guess now we should add kidnapping to that list. Now, admittedly, this is more of a European American exception, because those old colonial powers, they never really stopped fucking with any colony they can still extract wealth from. But the United States, we raised political interference to the level of public spectacle. We have openly used any weapon we could get our hands on to undermine any government, democratically elected or not, that we can't profit from. It's kind of our thing. It's our brand. It's what we're known for. But the United States is special. In fact, we have two things that make us special. Two things. Two, and only two things that have created our rise to dominance. And they are the Atlantic and the Pacific. That's it. Really, that's it. See, we've always had these big-ass oceans that divide us from any potential major industrialized enemy. Heck, if the colonies had been a little bit closer to England during the American Rebellion, I can't say our rebellion, since my ancestors were, at that time, enslaved by the slave owners who were fighting for their own freedom. Anyway, if those colonies had been a little bit closer to England and the American Rebellion had gone on, probably would have been brutally crushed, like the rebellions in Scotland and Ireland. So, the Atlantic, the Pacific, that's it. The Atlantic and Pacific meant that in both major wars in the 20th century, our factories didn't get bombed. Every other industrialized nation had their factories bombed, and a lot of their skilled workforce killed. The United States didn't suffer industrial collapse, And after each war, the United States benefited by becoming the factory for the rest of the world. Basic consumer items around the world were made in America, not because America was better, but because it was difficult for anyone else to make things. Our economy boomed because our factories hadn't been bombed. And they hadn't been bombed because of these two big-ass oceans we have on either side. That really is it. Nothing inherent in the American soul or mind, no special spirit, no divine providence, and no exceptionalism. Our factories didn't get bombed. Their factories got bombed. Oh, and that's why when everyone else finished rebuilding their factories by the late 1960s, our economy began to slide. There is nothing exceptional about us, our economic theories, our way of life, even our apple pie. Oh, and despite our militarism, I gotta say, our military hasn't been exceptional either. Now, I'm not saying the United States doesn't have a massive, powerful military. It's huge and advanced. And we spend a shit ton of money on it. We spend more money on our military than the next 9 countries spend on their militaries combined. But when it comes to who we fight and when the U.S. actually fights, we've been very careful. Well, let's say selective. And this selectivity, it started with our various wars against the Native Americans. Yeah, I mean, think about it. The United States spent over a century using rifles and cannon to massacre people who could only fight back with bows and arrows and what guns they could grab. And we act like that was some great victory. Half a century of kids raised on heroic movies about fighting off them dangerous Indians. And the Mexican-American War. We stole a shitload of land from a poor, weak neighbor. Spanish-American War. We declared war on a collapsing empire so we could grab their colonies, just as the rebels in those colonies had almost won their freedom. And the U.S. spent more time and money fighting against the freedom fighters in the Philippines and in Cuba than we did fighting against the Spanish to free them. World War I. It started in 1914, but we didn't enter it until 1917. 3 years late, everybody exhausted, war was almost over, Germany was about to collapse, and we still took credit for winning it. World War II. England declared war on Nazi Germany because the Nazis had attacked one of their allies. France declared war on Nazi Germany because the Nazis had attacked one of their allies. And the United States of America watched. Yeah, most people don't know this, but the United States, we didn't jump up and declare war on the Nazis. Our friends were devastated, bombed, enslaved, mass murders, mass graves. But we waited a couple of years until the Nazis declared war on us first. That's how important defeating fascism was to America. And of course, we took credit for winning that war too. Oh, and after that, Korea, Vietnam, Somalia, Iraq, Afghanistan, Venezuela. It's a very long list of small countries that we've threatened or invaded or blockaded. Countries that were little or no military threat to us. Now, I'm no militarist, but Alexander the Great took on the freaking Persians, biggest empire at the time. Rome fought Carthage. The Moors took on the Mediterranean basin. The Irish took on the British. The British took on Napoleon. Napoleon took on the rest of Europe. Geronimo took on the United States. And the Mongols, they took on the world. American military prestige is not built on us fighting major powers at their height. It's built on us fighting small powers or coming into major wars late. Oh, and internally, with our history of our government spying on us, blackmailing us, jailing and killing law-abiding unionists, jailing and killing civil rights activists, jailing and killing environmentalists, feminists, anarchists, communists, socialists. One certainly can't say our freedoms have been exceptional. With our tax dollars paying our government to terrorize us, and now paying immigration and customs to brutalize and kill people in the streets, the only thing exceptional about Americans has been our willingness to finance our own growing oppression. Our willingness to pay spineless elected officials who've abandoned their responsibilities. Our willingness to watch journalists be fired or jailed for reporting our government's misdeeds. Our willingness to watch our rights be ignored by the American government, just like we've watched our government ignore the rights of citizens of every other country. Yeah, that's where we're exceptional. Oh, and as for our form of government, remember, the founders of this country didn't want independence. They just wanted to be treated as equal English citizens with real representation in the English Parliament. And even after they won independence, some of the founders didn't even want to be a democratic republic. After the war, there was a strong movement to make George Washington president for life, because they could not imagine a country without some kind of king. It's kind of like what a lot of exceptional Americans want now. Even our form of government, though, it isn't exceptional. Hey, you know who's had a republic longer than the U.S.? Switzerland. They've had a republic for about 800 years. More 3 times older than ours. But does that make them super specially exceptional? No. And it shouldn't. Because no country is exceptional. America is just another country which has benefited from an accident of geography. So jumping up and down about how exceptional America is strikes me as it's politically and historically pointless. Because Egypt probably thought it was exceptional. So did Persia. So did Rome. So did England. So did Japan. So did Germany. So did the USSR. Now, I'm not saying the United States hasn't been at times very neat, or that I wish I had been born anywhere else. I like lots of stuff about my country. I like the free public schools, the clean water, the cleanish air. I've also enjoyed the lack of lots of dead bodies in the streets and the lack of masked stormtroopers. Of course, right now, there are those who want to give control of education to corporations, who want to defund the whole water and air cleaning thing. And the dead bodies in the streets? Actually, we've always had those. I mean, sure. I mean, they weren't always in the street. Sometimes they were hanging from trees or shot in their beds. And the killers? They weren't always wearing masks. I mean, sometimes they wore hoods. Sometimes they wore badges. But now we have ICE stormtroopers to drive it home exactly how unexceptional any of us really is. But, that's beside the point. There have been a lot of great things about my country, but being exceptional has never been one of them. In fact, given the inevitable collapse of every great power, our current slide towards authoritarianism, the sometimes hysterical trumpeting of our specialness, our uniqueness, our exceptionalism, it's ironically very typical.